Meta AI is the personal AI to help you with whatever you need. Plus, it meets you where you are. Not only is Meta AI now an app, but it's also on the apps you already know and love. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger. Plus the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. It's easy to access wherever you are. So whether you're talking or texting, Meta AI is convenient to use throughout your day. Experience our newest AI that's tailored to you by downloading the Meta AI app. Try the Meta AI app today on the Apple App Store and Google Play.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
In golf, precision is everything, on and off the course. PGA of America chose advanced 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business for smooth operations and seamless transactions. Together, we enhance ticketing and concessions for better fan experiences from gate to green. This is pro-level efficiency. This is PGA of America with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
Hello and welcome to the second episode of Talk 72 podcast. I'm joined here today by Jonny and Sutts. So we've got a few different sections tonight, starting with the breaking news of Gerard Struber to Bristol City. Sutts, what are your first opinions on it?
It's probably been one of the worst kept secrets ever going, hasn't it, really? And took the time to announce it. But I'm quite excited by it, if I'm honest. There has been a mixed reaction amongst City fans. That's nothing unusual for City fans, though, to be honest. But yeah, no, I think he came across really well in his press conference today. Obviously, done his homework on the club, as you'd expect. And if you look at his record, it's a pretty impressive record that he's had. I'd love to get to the bottom of why he was sacked with 2 games to go from his last role when they were second in the league. But yeah, certainly, and I've seen lots of clips of him sort of when he was with New York, when he's mic'd up and coaching, and sort of obviously at Barnsley and in Germany. And it seems that he has a fantastic relationship with players in everything that I've seen, which is can't always be said of a manager. Normally, the sort of they're a little bit standoffish, but it just seems he commands respect, and he comes across as that kind of type of bloke, really, and certainly made all the right noises about the type of football that he wants to play and sort of how he wants to go about developing the team and his ambitions. So yeah, I think as with anything though, when you've got this is only our second foreign coach in our history, and you weren't even born probably the last time we had one, and that was a complete disaster. That was a complete disaster, so it can't be as bad as that.
Yeah, I think personally, I put a post out a few weeks ago, and I think it's a good move because, especially Barnsley fans, they've come out and said in the Championship he was a good manager, got him playing the right way, and I think I did some research, and he plays like a 3-4-1-2, so it's similar in the way to what Bristol City used to, and I think players like Matt Bird, Jason Knight, Rob Dickey, being in the centre of that, I think there's already good structure, and I think also with him wanting to play with 2 strikers, I think it'll be good for the recruitment side.
That's music to our ears as well, to be honest. Absolutely, we just need those 2 strikers.
Yeah, I know. And linking with that, you got the likes of Adam Randall potentially coming in to the setup. I think he's, proven himself at Plymouth now in the Championship, and I think be a good move. What are your opinions on that one?
I think it's a great signing if we get him over the line. Terrific signing. Obviously, once he's played really well in the Championship, they've gone down, wants to play at that level. The one concern I have is when you read his bio and you know how he plays, he's not too dissimilar to Jason Knight. So whether that's something we don't know about, and they're already teeing up a replacement for him, which was a huge loss for us. But no, I mean, it's exciting that if you think, say a lot of our fans have been moaning about sort of length of time it took. It's only 15 days since Manning went, and we didn't sack him. So that was the point where I was getting across today on Twitter. We didn't sack him, so we couldn't go out looking for someone. We had to wait, unlike Sheffield United. So if we announce a new head coach, which I think is quite exciting, style of football, and then we're linked with players. We signed Josh Stokes yesterday on a contract, extended contract, which I think is brilliant. He's an outstanding prospect, and obviously had a brilliant season for Cambridge. So it's all positive after what was obviously sort of the playoffs didn't go as well as we'd have hoped, and then with Manning going, it was a kind of, we had that euphoria, and then it was a real dip. So yeah, a bit of positive. So yeah, it's great, really.
Yeah, I think it's great, especially with the links of systems. But I think, as you said before, following on from your comment about the good player to manager relationships, I think especially after Manning going, losing in the playoffs, I think it's good to follow on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, and you hear various rumours about sort of what happened, and sort of Norwich come in for Manning whilst he was away on holiday, his family holiday, so he wasn't at the club, and you've got stories that you're hearing that he didn't even come back to the club to say sort of goodbye to the players because they were all here, there, and everywhere. So he's kind of left on a sort of, after such a high, he's left quite quickly, and certainly I know with sort of quite a few City fans, left a bit of a bitter taste in the mouth. So to sort of appointed quite reasonably quickly for City, and positively, and sort of someone that you think, yeah, you can believe in what he's saying. He's been there and he's done it, and he's proved the way his style of football. Done it in the Championship, he's done it overseas, he's done it in Germany, in the second tier of football over there. So yeah, as I said, we needed that boost, that bit of a bit of positivity in the club.
Yeah, and I also think, following on from your point about Bristol City fans being unhappy at length of time, I personally think, it's better because, he's got time now to assess the squad, but also, not rushing into it, assessing the candidates. And I think with the time they took, I think they've realised, linking to the systems, we've made possibly that link to Salzburg and Cologne, for transfers. I think it's
also with our academy, because we put a lot of money and emphasis into our academy, and I know there was a bit of disdain about the fact that Manning didn't blood any of the younger players at all last season, even when we were struggling to even fill a bench at times. And we let some good players go. So, for example, Tommy Backwell, who was our under-21 captain, went on loan to Cheltenham. Next week, he's signed in permanently. These guys were never, ever given a chance at the club. And there's been a few like that. I mean, we've had some notable players that have come through. Tommy Conway, Adam Scott, Semenyo. But they were blooded into the team and had a couple of seasons in the first team. We've not had anyone come through since then. And I think that was keen from sort of the hierarchy, from Lansdowne and from Tinian, that they wanted someone that was going to work with the younger players that were coming through and give them that experience. It's worked in the past. I say we kind of just, it worked in the end, didn't it? You can't knock it. It did work. But you think we didn't make much progress in terms of those players.
Yeah, and following on from that, the young lad, as you pointed out before, Josh Stones, I think he could really come into the squad this season. Obviously, I saw him when Wigan played Cambridge. Obviously, he was in quite a week in Cambridge side, but he really showed that he's up for playing. He's taken a big step up, and he was quite happy to go out on loan, get some game time. But as you've said, with the likes of Alex Scott, Antoine Semenyo, it shows that these players coming through, there's quality coming out of Bristol City. And you look at lots of Semenyo tearing the Premier League apart now, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
hopefully that's what Stephen can implement.
Look at those players that went. So you got sort of Alex Scott went for 22 million. You got Semenyo that went, okay, I think what did he go for in the end? About 8 or 9 million. But if rumours are to believe, we're going to get a big payday from him moving on again. Tommy Conway came to the team, and we'll move on from that one quickly. But so we have produced some great talents over the years. There's a whole host of them that have gone on to do really, really well. So they've obviously got the system there. They've got the coaching. They've got the players to bring through. But all of those players I mentioned, all, like I said, had a couple of seasons, at least a couple of seasons in the Championship, in the City team, finding their feet. And then we just literally had no one last season. No one coming at all. So we'll probably talk about this again. But the one area for me, well, two areas for me is strikers. Badly need strikers. I know we've got Naki signed a 1 year, and was amazing for us last season. But we've got Sinclair Armstrong that we kind of, he didn't really do anything for us. And we have Fally Malou. I think we signed the wrong brother on that one, obviously. And so they were a gamble on those guys. They were really young and it hasn't paid off. So there has to be investment in that centre forward area. And we do need a keeper. And I've been saying it for seasons. We need another keeper to challenge Max O'Leary. Because he had zero competition last season whatsoever. You need that healthy competition. But when we look at the likes of defence, and you play a three, we got McNally coming back from injury, who was brilliant for us. But you've got Dickey, Viner. So you've got those players back there that could play in that quite easily. And then sort of other players that were coming into their own as the season went on. And so you've got players coming back from injury. So, a few key signings in those areas. So sort of centre forward area. So you get strength balls to the midfield and a keeper and with a positive coach. Who knows? Who knows what may happen?
Yeah, so finally within the Bristol City topic, who are the main players this summer that you feel like you must hold on to, and players like you really need to build a team around?
Yeah, Jason Knight is the obvious one. Yeah, he was just simply incredible last season as a talisman. 24 years old, captain, played every minute of every match all season, including the playoffs. His work ethic and his engine is just unbelievable. And he's just a leader, and it was just so influential in that team last season. It would be a huge loss if he were to go. Obviously, Manning went out on a limb to get Twine in.
Yeah.
And Twine hasn't, he scored a few worldly free kicks for us, but he hasn't really delivered. He was injured a bit towards the end of the season. Nothing there. I don't think we've seen the best of him, but we've got the Japanese player as well, Hirakawa, who I know that Manning really rated him, and said there's lots to go. And he's just made his Japan sort of senior debut in the last couple of weeks, and I think he's got the talent there if he can kick on. Mehmeti had a brilliant start to the season, tailed off. So I think we've got those players around that can create things. We just need a couple to put the ball in the back of net. Because it just wasn't happening in that thing. We were, at the end of the season, all our goals were coming from defenders, which says a lot. So for me, key players, Jason Knight to keep. At the back, McNally coming back is going to be huge. Yeah. I just think, we've got those core players there that we can keep. We've signed Tanner on an extended contract. It doesn't look like at this moment in time that we're actually going to be losing anyone other than the talk around Jason Knight that was always going to be there, come what may, because he's had such an outstanding season that Premier League teams are bound to be looking at him.
Yeah, excellent. The next part of the breaking news obviously came last week of the preliminary rounds within the EFL Cup. So we'll start with Jonny. What obviously we touched about it on a YouTube Shorts. You can go and watch. But Jonny, what's your opinions on this preliminary round of the EFL Cup?
It's an absolute joke. Because you've got Newport and Accrington Stanley, Oldham and Barnet.
Yeah.
Got 4 teams there. And it's just because of big boys in Premier League taking over, like we said the other day, taking over again. picking on bullying little clubs. And it isn't fair. Why couldn't they kick out 2 Premier League teams?
Yeah.
And make it more better?
It does wrangles, doesn't it? When the reason they stopped replays in the FA Cup was because of the Premier League teams moaning, and then all of them buggered off to here, there, and everywhere around the world at the end of the season. So it makes a mockery of that decision, and just shows how little regard that they have for anything outside the Premier League.
It's like non-league as well. They've created Premier League teams complained about playing games, and then they've created the non-league version of the EFL trophy. So under 21 teams are now there. Why?
I know, yeah. And touching from that, I think also, when these Premier League managers are saying, about them playing extra games, scrapping FA Cup replays, but, this week, so soon after the season's finished, they go and play a Club World Cup. We normally see, the big teams playing games abroad. And it really surprises me, that, everything has to just suit around them.
But it's because of the Premier League. It's this global phenomenon, isn't it? It's watched in every country around the world, and it's massive. And the Premier League want these clubs to go out and do their PR bit as well, and would encourage them to do it, but at the expense of the clubs that, like I said, last season, some of those FA Cup games that would have gone to a replay would have been absolutely huge money spinners for some of those teams in the past, and they don't get them. I mean, that's the difference between teams being able to perhaps buy a couple of new players and strengthen for the season or not. And it's just unfair that these teams that have the money and the power already and the pool are just sort of riding shotgun on everyone else. And it's the old adage, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And I mean, even for clubs like in the Championship as well. I mean, we had our replay at West Ham, which was absolutely fantastic, and we took 9,000 to West Ham. That pool is still there. It's just been taken away. It's just like a rug been pulled under the carpet that no one has that to look forward to. But equally, from a club's point of view, and the owners and of clubs, that's a huge revenue source that they've lost potentially.
Yeah,
and those clubs deserve their payday and their replay.
I already love same-day delivery with Shipt, but it's so much better since I signed up for Target Circle 360. Why? Because I no longer pay price markups from the majority of stores through Shipt. Only a handful of alcohol retailers and items don't count. That means no markups on groceries, pet food, even home goods and makeup. So to recap, I have more time to catch up on life while someone shops for me, and I spend less. It's a win-win. Order now at shipt.com/360. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Max. The HBO original comedy special, Gerard Carmichael, Don't Be Gay, is now streaming on Max. Emmy-winning comedian Gerard Carmichael returns to the stage in his boldest special yet, bringing his sharp wit, unfiltered honesty, and the kind of vulnerability that's made his voice truly one of a kind. Don't miss Gerard Carmichael, Don't Be Gay. Now streaming on Max.
Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states, and MLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
It's like Man United. As soon as that full-time whistle's gone, they've buggered off to Hong Kong or wherever it is.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then we've got this Mickey Mouse Super League, whatever that trophy is. Club World Cup. Joke. They're flogging players. They're flogging players to death. Yeah, and season starts in 62 days? I know for them and different to EFL, but I know we're going a bit off topic, but it's a joke. It's like, like the EFL trophy, for example, why don't they kick out the Premier League teams, have Championship, League One, League Two, and even ask non-league to join, and you could have it as like a mini FA Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can get them joined in instead of having that crap thing of an EFL trophy. And then this Premier League round crap.
Yeah, you look at the teams that entered it, though, these under-21 teams, no one's ever done any good in it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So one day an under-21 team will win it. I guarantee an under-21 team will win it.
I'll be shocked if they did, but I can see your point where they're going. But they're just these are boys, aren't they? Young lads going out against like some seasoned, experienced professionals in games, and as it gets, if teams have got a sniff of it. I mean, to play at a Wembley final is huge. So that's when the experience comes. But yeah, it just makes a mockery of it. So of the importance of that to the lower league teams to actually have a chance of a decent competition over and above the FA Cup and the League Cup, which they're unlikely to get anywhere with. And I mean, I can speak for myself. I mean, we've won it 3 times, and it was absolutely amazing. And we've been to a couple that we lost as well. Just huge, memorable days out for fans that will live them forever. And then you've got I say the Premier League trying their best again to put the kibosh on it.
It's like when, for example, international breaks run, and there's no Championship football on. Like ITV don't even bother showing League 1 or League 2.
No.
Premier League teams are dominating stuff.
Yeah.
And as a Bradford City fan and other fans around the world, the fans need to take more ownership on stuff. Like, get rid of this preliminary round crap. It's not FA Cup. It's a League Cup, and it's an important trophy. Like, even extend it. Add a couple more teams in for it, just to get them 2 teams in. Because what if Oldham and Barnet win? Newport and Accrington Stanley would probably be gutted. That they're not going to get far.
Yeah.
The mind just boggles when who comes up with these ideas? The FA and Premier League sit in a room together and go, how can we screw over EFL clubs this week?
Well, it goes even lower. So I've spent quite a lot of time in the past involved in youth football. So I was chairman of a junior football club. So you look at the clubs that are struggling at grassroots level and the money that's at the top. We're talking about filtering down into the lower leagues of the 92 and into the non-league. These clubs could do so much more just at grassroots level than they're doing. They say they would give a lot, and they possibly do. But in comparison to the profits these guys are making, the transfer fees that they're paying, agents' fees that they're paying, I mean, that really makes my boil when it comes to agents' fees. But yeah, we've got to invest in other countries have done it, invest in our youth system and set
absolutely.
Up. I mean, you look what Spain have done. I mean, and that's gone on. It's proved wonders, isn't it? So anyway, I'm going off topic a little bit there, but
yeah, I think my opinion on it, you get this preliminary round, and you're knocking 2 teams out, but also when you talk about the EFL Trophy, there's players in that have just been brought in for 20-30 million pound in the under-21s teams, and they're playing in that, and it doesn't really, it's not really the under-21s, it's just players that they brought out that they want to try out. It's kind of taking a mockery of it.
Yeah. Well, it's like you've said, both said already. It belittles and devalues.
Yeah,
that is a great competition for the teams in the lower divisions.
Yeah, and all the EFL fans, they'll, especially League 1 and League 2, they'll say, it's just this trophy. But at the end of the day, when you get to the later rounds and you're thinking, oh well, there's a trip to Wembley here, it could be a special day out. It's really what I love within the sport.
Yeah, I mean, you're really lucky if you get to see your team play once in the final at Wembley.
Yeah,
as a fan, I'm lucky to see. Well, I've seen them play at the old Wembley, the new Wembley, and Cardiff in finals. So a little bit different, but it is a massive thing. And like you say, I mean, every kid growing up would love to see their team play in a final at Wembley. I know I did. I was back when we first did '86. Give me age away now. I was 2, No. But yeah, no, to see a team play at Wembley, it's just an incredible experience. And then, as I say, it's the powers that be, if you think, and the controllers of the game are trying to influence that even at that level, which is just not right. It's just not right.
Like I've seen Bradford, we've beaten Northampton, lost against Swansea in the League Cup, and lost against Millwall. And it's horrible coming back from Wembley when you lose. Yeah. Buzzing when you win, but shit when you lose.
Yeah, please don't mention 2008 now because it just gets wrapped up every bloody time. So yeah.
Yeah, and I also think another point with it is, these teams in League One and League Two, and especially the FL Cup, I know it's very unlikely, but these trips to Wembley, these Premier League teams, it just seems every once in 2, 3, 4 years they get the opportunity. But for these EFL fans, that are diehard going to see the club this week and that week, it's really the money spin. I think, especially with the likes of, these are the fans that go and support the local team, but obviously there's United fans that are bringing in all these tourists that have got likes of £80-90 tickets, and they're the type of fans who go to 1 or 2 games, but there's fans going every game, season in, season out, and they deserve that chance. And this ruining it's really taking it away.
Yeah, there's something happening in my brain now, which happens all the time we talk about this. So I'm going to be going after this. I'm going to be looking now and doing research as to which teams have not played at Wembley in a final ever. Yeah. So bear with me on that one. I'll come back to you.
Yeah. So that's the breaking news part of the podcast. We'll now jump straight on to the transfers part of the podcast, which was requested in the poll that I put on Twitter. So the first transfer, obviously back to Sutts and Bristol City, is the like of Adam Randall. So what are your opinions on this transfer?
Yeah, as I said already, I think it'd be fantastic. We get him over the line. What I've heard is pretty much agreed. He's in Bristol tomorrow for a medical. I think they wanted to get the manager announcement done and dusted, and first of all, and then that sort of over the line. So that I think it's exciting. That's just going to strengthen. And from a point of view of us, where we're worried that we're going to lose players, we've not lost any players that we didn't want to, that just ones are out of contract at the moment. Yeah, and we're bringing in a new face. Said some players that were already on the books. We've extended contracts for them, which is three players, which is exciting. That we're keeping them, and there's obviously going to be irons and fires for other players as well. We've not heard those rumours yet, but I mean personally, I've always been a big fan of the loan system. I know that some people don't. I know that when we had Pearson, he wasn't, and we didn't have anyone. But if I roll back, the season we had Tammy Abraham. He kept us up that season, unbelievable. And last season, young player of the year for us was George Earthy, who had a fantastic season. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that that's going to be some talk around there. And we've already touched on it as well with Struber, that from his coaching on the continent, in Austria, Germany, and then also in the major league in America, MLS. He's going to have a lot of contacts. He's going to know some different players and some ideas that fit his system. And I imagine part of his negotiations was I'm going to have to bring in some players.
Yeah. Yeah, and as we touched on before with the likes of Adam Randall, the only thing that concerns me with is, when you got likes of Max Bird and Jason Knight, he's kind of like especially with Jason Knight, it kind of makes me think, how will he be able to replace him? Because obviously they were a big part of your midfield last season.
Yeah, I mean, there was times when Max Bird just kind of tailed off a little bit, but he did have defensions. But then we had Joe Williams that come in as well, sort of after him. Yeah. When he could stay fit and not be suspended, he was pivotal in some games for us. And so that midfield is quite strong for us. But as I say, I don't want it to happen. I hope it doesn't happen. Just as soon as I saw we were linked with Randall, just had this sneaking little gut feeling that perhaps something's further advanced with Jason Knight that we don't know about.
Yeah, that was my thinking. So straight to Jonny now with the signing of Josh Nerville to Bradford City. Jonny, an exciting one for me. I know Wimbledon fans were definitely sad to see him go. What are your opinions on it, and how do you think he could adapt to the Bradford City system?
So, every time Bradford City buy a player, I always look on YouTube, I put a video together, and then I go on Football Manager, and I bang him each team and see how they get on. So I'm just looking on transfermarket.co.uk, and in League 2, he's had possibly 46 games, or 45 appearances, 4 goals, 4 assists, 5 yellow cards, no second yellows and no reds. And he seems like on YouTube, he seems a really pacey player with goals.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he will play him, but like on Football Manager, he's a winger. But with Bradford, we normally like to play with 3 in the back.
Yeah.
And then wingers, like, I can't remember, wing backs. Wing backs.
Yeah,
absolutely. And Bradford we need them. Where Richards, who played for us, are still there. I think he's in contract negotiations at the minute. He's a fantastic player, but the very unlucky person, he did his arm, came back from it, and then did his arm again.
Yeah.
So we do need them kind of players running down the wings and to cause trouble. And he scored the goal in the final, not the final. Yeah, did he score the goal in the final as well for AFC Wimbledon? Or was it one of legs? One of the legs he played in?
Yeah.
Scored the winner there. So he's got goals, and I'm really glad Bradford bought him. He looks a quick, rapid player, and just hopefully can cause carnage, especially against Wigan next season.
Yeah, I mean, we played a similar system, so we had to sort of the one striker for the middle, and then we kind of had the wing backs, but then you had those like 2 wider players of the 3 up front, in the likes of Mehmeti and Twine played there as well, but you had those players there, Hirakawa. So if they got pace and they can get at players and cut in, that's where they come into the range. So it's, I guess, like you said, it depends on the system that you play.
Yeah, I think personally it's a good move. As you said, he's rapid, and I think when you're trying to get the balls into your strikers, I think he's the type of player you need. He's quick, you can get in behind. He's said 4 goals, 4 assists, so he can contribute a bit. I think he's quite an ideal wing back. So moving on, I think the breaking news, obviously, today with Aaron Collins going to MK Dons, a huge statement. I think talking about it now, possibly going to be the league to signing of the transfer window, obviously. But I think, these types of players, it applies huge pressure on Paul Warne to kind of think, I've got this squad, but, we've seen it before. Sometimes the big squads don't specifically win your games. You need to gel. Starting with Sutts, what are your opinions on this type of signing?
It's a gamble, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
massive.
A gamble. And you've seen them pay off, and you've seen them go horribly wrong. And if they start going wrong, then the fans turn quite quickly. We're a fickle bunch, aren't we? And if it pays off, then everyone's a hero, aren't they? And it's absolutely brilliant. But I think it's a big gamble to play, particularly when you're down in the lower leagues, to do that, because you don't have the depth of squads that perhaps some of the other teams do. You don't have the money to splash around. It also puts amazing pressure on the player.
Yeah.
And some can deal with it and some can't. Everyone reacts differently. So we've all done it. We've all seen it. I mean, we did it quite a few seasons back. We absolutely went mental when we bought Callas and Jada Silva, and we spent an absolute fortune, and it didn't work out. And then we remember with them on contract. So that was Championship. So down there. I mean, like I say, I think it's a big gamble and not one that I'd be in favour of personally. But if it pays off, then I'll be eating humble pie.
Yeah, I think personally, I saw him last year, and I think he'll be really the main player in MK Don's attack. obviously I don't like to say it as a Wigan fan, but he was a good player for Bolton, and last few seasons he's really shone in League One, and I think it also shows a statement of if they're outpaying the wages of League One, it's a massive, massive risk. He must be on silly contract there.
I mean, I hope you noticed there how very diplomatic I stayed as well. Bear in mind of his history, who he's played for.
Yeah, exactly. Playing for the Rovers.
America's beverage companies are investing in America. We're American companies making American products with American workers in America's hometowns. We're local bottlers and manufacturers operating in all 50 states, employing more than 275,000 Americans in good-paying jobs, delivering for the nation because we believe in the promise of America and the people who make it great. Learn more at WeDeliverForAmerica.org. Paid for by the American Beverage Association.
Choice Hotels get you more for your money so you can maximize any road trip. Let's get real close to hear the maximum sizzle of Comfort Inn's free hot breakfast. Maximized. Check into more. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Shopping is hard, right? But I found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And he sends just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and styling tips. I keep what works and send back the rest. It's so easy. Make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Spotify. That's stitchfix.com/Spotify.
Yeah, so Jonny, of course, you saw MK Dons last season. What are your opinions on these types of transfers, and how sceptical are you now of what they're really kind of building under Paul Warne?
So when we played them in the first game of the season, should we say there weren't a lot of fans there? I think fans might have gone dressed up as empty seats. But with MK Dons, they've obviously got new owners. I don't know his last. Is it Pete Winkelman? If I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's obviously sold the club to American owners or whoever owners they are.
Yeah.
And these American owners are now throwing money at the club. It may work. It may backfire. But Sutts was saying there, it's a big, massive gamble. You're spending money on a player who's obviously got experience from League One. I think he was Bolton's top goal scorer and possibly team of the year at theirs or the star man of there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure on MK Dons, and it'll either go two ways. They'll smash the league, they'll boss it, he'll score boatloads of goals, or they'll just fall off a cliff and end up not going up. So it shows MK Dons throwing money at it, and it shows they've got ambition, and it's just like, to be continued, see what happens. We could be chatting about this in 2.5 months' time, and they could be top at league, or they could be bottom it.
I mean, they must see something in him because he's not prolific, is he? Really, by any stretch of the imagination. So, just look at stats for Bolton: 64 games, 20 goals.
Yeah.
Before that, the ones that we don't talk about, 118 games, 35 goals.
Yeah.
Before that, Forest Green, 72 games, 14 goals. So it's not someone they're saying as them. Massively prolific and sort of shooting the lights out and improved like when he's gone on. So I think it is a massive. But then again, so that's the reason why I'm not a football manager and paid the bucks because they probably see things that I don't.
Yeah, exactly. And I also think it's weird to me because obviously you got the likes of Bolton. He was quite a big player there, and they're a team who with a couple of additions, unfortunately, again I'd have to say. I think they could really, push on this season. So it's, I think I'm very skeptical of what, obviously, probably chose the money, but, he's taking a big step down there, and relying on MK Dons, this project to work.
Yeah, he's still got time, isn't he? He's 28. He's got time on him, but he's like I say, he's only been there a really short space of time, really, Bolton, hasn't he? So, but yeah, it's one to watch with interest, and he'll be. I I'm sure we'll give them a very warm reception when we play them in a pre-season friendly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not.
Absolutely. So then the final transfer I'd like to talk about is a rumour we saw, which is Sonny Bradley, the experienced centre-half, being linked with a move to Lincoln. Obviously, Sutts, did you get to see a bit of Sonny Bradley last season for Derby?
No, not well. Yeah, when we played them, obviously that was the season that the brilliant season that they had. But no, other than the games against us, which didn't go particularly well, as you played Derby. But no, he looks a good player. He looks a strong player for them. I mean, he looked like he was gonna. He looked like he was going to possibly go on and do bigger and better things, much bigger and better things, but he hasn't. And that's not the first time all of us would have said that when we've watched players and they've not gone on to do what we expected. So, to be honest, I mean, it's sometimes a change for a player is what they need, a new challenge, and it brings out the best in them. And we've seen that many times as well. And they could turn out to be that player that just is a talisman immense for them and galvanises a team.
Yeah, I think he's what they're needing because obviously, you've seen like of Huddersfield going out and, they've lost two centre-halves now. So I think he's what they need with the experienced centre-half, to build a team around. So next section is going to be the second most requested, which is club-specific. And obviously we'll start with the really big news coming out of Sheffield Wednesday with Chansiri, messing it up again. And now they're under a 3-window embargo. So we'll start with Jonny. What are your personal opinions on this mess at Sheffield Wednesday?
Can I swear?
Go on, then.
I think that says it all. Yeah.
I think the owner of Sheffield Wednesday is an absolute tool. That's politely putting it. I was going to use a stronger word than that. It rhymes with tanker, but obviously I'm not going to say that. But it's ruining the club for Sheffield. Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday are one of these teams who've been here for years. I don't know how long they've been here for.
Yeah. Big
and it's crippling the club. And it isn't fair on the fans. I've seen stuff like when I look on Twitter and stuff like that, where he's removed stuff and ticket prices where he's still a child. I think child has to pay like 50 quid to go to a game. It's like, what are you doing to your club? The heart and soul of Sheffield is the fans. Fans deserve respect. Fans deserve the entitlement to go and watch a game. Fans can basically ruin a club. If you don't get your fans in, the budget goes. And with them having now a 3-window transfer ban, players will probably still leave. They need somebody to come in and sort that club out. And I've seen something on Twitter, and I'm trying to think of his name. He used to, I think he managed Portsmouth, not Portsmouth. He used to be like a chief executive at Portsmouth, something Mandarich or something. Milan Mandarich, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's seen something on there. I think he's trying to go over and have a chat to Sheffield Wednesday. Right. Sheffield Wednesday are a massive club and they need taking over. And looks how they're going. It looks like it's going to be a Bolton going to administration. They could do a Bury or Bury, however you pronounce it. They could go under. And that would absolutely cause carnage in the EFL if they went under. Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah. I don't know how it would work mathematically with tables and stuff like that. So whoever is listening, if these people are listening abroad, some multi-billionaires are listening in Saudi and watching in Saudi Arabia, go and buy Sheffield Wednesday. Get rid of that owner who is crippling a club and save Sheffield Wednesday from the devil. And I can't think of what else.
Yeah, I think personally, I've seen it with my team, Wigan. Obviously, a foreign owner coming in and, promising money, and then all of a sudden, we haven't got it. And then the next minute, you're not playing your players, you're in administration, and then all of a sudden, it ruins the club. And I think with Sheffield Wednesday, they're a massive club, and I think they had a real project going under Danny Rowe. And I also feel bad for Danny Rowe because, he's kind of like trapped there. I know, and it's really concerning for me. Sutts, what's your opinions on what's going on?
It's just absolute shambles, isn't it? It's absolutely it's happening too often now that you get these owners come in with delusions of grandeur without an absolute Scooby-Doo of what they're doing. They don't understand the club, the history. They don't understand the community, the fans, the passion for things, and completely F it up basically. And it's not isolated to Sheffield Wednesday. We've seen it with many clubs. I mean, Reading been through it. You guys been there. It's always there's another one on the cusp, isn't there?
Yeah.
Coming out. So it's absolutely. I mean, Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, must have been in the last month or so delighted with certain events that happened. Yeah. And then they this happens for them. So it's horrendous. Yeah. I mean, I speak to quite a few Sheffield Wednesday fans on Twitter and just feel for them. So they are a massive club. Their support is fantastic. Always has been. And it's just you've got to feel for them. And sometimes you got to be careful when with fans as well. When it's careful what you wish for. And I'll speak personally of my club now that there's been a lot of noise around the owners of Lansdowne, around sort of not putting enough money and stuff like that. I mean, what he has done to us is phenomenal. And without him, God knows where we'd be. And it's like I said, it's careful what you wish for. Because you could get someone come in and undo all of that in a very, very quick time period and put themselves in a situation like from Wednesday. Just got to feel for them, really, because they are screwed, really. This three window, no players coming in. Like John says as well, like players will still go out. They're going to leave, especially now. They're thinking, well, what chance have we got now? We can't get any new players in. They're up against it, aren't they? Backs against the wall, and you've seen these things unwind very quickly and develop into something serious.
Yeah, and linking back to my team, Wigan, obviously, we had a real project going on, and we had a team where we had players like Anthony Robinson, Kiefer Moore, these players that you feel like with the money that we were spending on transfers, we could get a couple more additions, we could push into the playoff places, and then all of a sudden, we go into administration, go on a -12, and then on the final day by a free kick, we're down. And I think, hopefully it doesn't happen to Sheffield Wednesday where they've got to sell all these players, and go into administration, with a manager like Danny Rowe, who realistically could be managing in the Premier League.
Yeah, like with Bradford as well. When we played Tranmere, there was, I don't know if you guys saw it, there was protesting outside the ground.
Yeah.
They wanted to roop out their owner now. And that protest, I think, personally kicks Roop up the ass. And he's like, there's something big happening here and I need to sort it out. And he released a letter and he said, do this, and do this. Fast forward 6 months down the line, League One, we're all happy. Exactly. Recruitment's changed.
But then you look at Blackburn. Blackburn towards the end of last season as well, wasn't it? Their fans forum had an open letter to the owner and chief exec to stay away from the ground, to stay away from the club. We don't want you there. We want you out. We don't want you in our club. Very openly and publicly saying it. And Jesus, was I sweating it on the last day of the season, because Blackburn, if they'd have scored, would have gone in the playoffs and we wouldn't have made it. Yeah. And this was at a time after. I mean, I was driving along listening to some guy from Blackburn Talk Sport, just so literally that, like, we don't want them in our club. Get out. And like I said, sometimes you've got to be careful what you wish for. Yeah,
absolutely. I think, and as we touched on before, I think, it's happening to so many, big clubs. You look to like the Reading, Wigan, Bolton, these clubs that, are getting these owners in, and then, it's ruining for the fans. They got these projects going on, as I've said. And I think, if we're not, I think the EFL, they really need to clamp down on this now and kind of because it's happening with the foreign owners again and again, and just makes you think, as you touched on before, maybe someone might be on the firing line next.
Yeah. But you don't tell you where you don't see it is the Premier League.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I'm glad to talk about an EFL podcast because the Premier League, it's all money.
But what are they doing? What are they doing when a new owner comes in to buy a club to take it over? So if you look at Man United taking over, the due diligence that they're doing has to be so far superior and in depth. And you know why? It's because they've got the money to pay for the barristers and the lawyers to do it. Yeah. So it should be the same rules across the board. They should be doing the same due diligence, the same investigations, the same checks, no matter whether they're buying Man United or they're buying Barnet.
There's like 2 documentaries I've watched recently. There's Our Club on Amazon, and that's about Portsmouth. And I don't know if anyone's seen that. They're like the owner coming in, saying he was from wherever, wrecked the club completely. And then the fans bought it back. And then there's also what I've got on my YouTube, Chickens on the Loose. I think it's QPR. It's either the 4-year plan or 5-year plan.
Yeah.
And how the ownership's gone up and down there, and it's had comments about how QPR struggling, stuff like that. But it's like, I could say Bradford City could get administration next week, or Wigan, or whoever. It could happen anytime.
Yeah, to be honest, there's one team that we've all been following and watching and been on that journey since their foreign owners come in is Wrexham.
Yeah, absolutely. And, touch on it, I think, it baffles me that Birmingham, were allowed to spend that much money in League One. It just shows the rules. But I think also when we're touching about the money side of football, how Man City are getting 115 charges.
Yeah.
And it just shows the superiority of these big clubs. And, our favourite then, as soon as the EFL, I think it just shows about the EFL, to be honest.
Well, I'm not going to make any comments or accusations about the fact that perhaps Wrexham, being maybe treated a little bit differently, because I know what's going to happen now, because I've just said it. My Twitter's going to go mental after with Wrexham fans. So, cheers, lads. Free on. But yeah, you can't say that. I mean, even some of the players that they were linked to going up into the Championship, absolutely bonkers. Talking about 50 grand a week.
I know.
I mean, it's just, that cannot be right. It cannot be right on any stretch of level of imagination.
Whatever comes up must come down, though. It's going to happen. They'll hit the glass ceiling.
It's bad enough that we have to compete with the parachute payments in the Championship that makes it a totally unfair playing field. Anyway, if you've then got a club that comes in, foreign owners are just throwing absolute bucket loads on it.
Yeah.
I mean, which to be fair, Man City did in the past, didn't they? And other teams have done it. It just, I've used the word belittle and devalue a few times tonight, but it does the whole structure and competition of the Football League.
Absolutely, and I think, as I touched on before with Birmingham, it does make me think, at the start of the season, if they'd literally spent 15 million on a striker in League One, that's the record. They broke the record 3 times in the same window, and one of them was almost, up to 5 times the previous record.
I'd going to be interested to see what he does in the Championship.
Absolutely, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's a big step up.
And to me,
struggle.
Yeah, I think they'll be hit hard, but I think with me, it's just in League One. It does make me think, because obviously you work about the amount that the club's earning, but I think there does need to be, especially the likes of MK Dons come up, they'll just be able to do the same thing with the money. And I think, to me, I think these rules, they need to be set, because I think it proves, if you get the right owners in, they can come in, spend a bucket load and get out of League One.
They've also got some clever lawyers behind them as well.
Absolutely.
It's not a level playing field on any level. So yeah, it does need to be run down, but you have to say that things have got better over the years from what they were, but there's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the club section of the podcast. Thank you for voting for that on the poll. I've now got a question for both of you, including and myself. With maybe rumours or who is a realistic transfer that you think you'd like in your club? Starting with Jonny.
That's a tricky one. So there's like 3 rumours who we've been linked with.
Yeah.
Mullen, a couple of Naki Wells,
yeah,
Josh Windass, and then Tayo, who we used to have on loan from Crystal Palace. And then there's another guy apparently from Stockport. I think he's a left wing back. But in an ideal world, we need strikers. So if we get Mullen, some miracle, might end up at Wigan, not your team, you never know.
Yeah.
Need a striker, midfielder, another centre back, and probably a left wing back. We'll be complete. And I can't give you any personal names because I can't think of the top of my head. But that's who we need, and we need to improve in them positions because we've lost Smallwood, we've lost Vadim Olivu, and we've lost multiple other players. So we just need to bring in players and build now.
Yeah, so move on to Sutts with Bristol City. Obviously, we've got the systems. It's quite hard to tell as he's just come in, but obviously maybe like the likes of a 3-4-1-2. Firstly, position, and then who do you really think?
If he's going to play 2 up front, we need 2 strikers.
Yeah, absolutely.
End of. I mean, Naki Wells just signed a 1-year extension.
Yeah.
Now, I think the rumours he's been with us a very long time now. He's part of the club. That there's sort of going into a coaching role as well, but you don't know where that fits now with the change. As I've said earlier, we need a goalkeeper. That's absolutely mandatory. We need one because we let the backup go, who'd only played 1 league cup game and let in 6. I think he's never been near it since. But we need 2 new strikers. Now, as I say, as for who they are, now you don't get a lot for your buck nowadays, do you?
No.
In the Championship. No. So I was looking at it because, I mean, Jordan Rhodes, I say, in his last transfer, went for 10 million at the end of his career.
Absolutely.
So if you think, Christ, where are we at? So I think, they're going to buy someone, but I think we've got to look at the loan system. We've got to go into someone in the Premier League, and like we did with Tammy Abraham a few years ago, we've proved as a club that we're a great home for them. These players, we develop them, we look after them. So I think that's a lot of it, isn't it, with players and coming down. And you look at the likes of these players that have come to us on loan, that they'll talk to the players. So I think we've got to go for a loan player from the Premier League for a centre forward, someone that is, not going to get the game time, but is might just need that season to come out. I say buy keeper. Other than that, I think it depends if we lose anyone. It looks like a ready-made replacement might be coming in if Jason Knight goes.
Yeah,
we've got McNally coming back from injury. We've signed Stokes on a long contract. We've got Tanner signed up. We haven't lost anyone that was out of contract that you would have wanted to keep. So it's just a case of keeping what we had, which obviously worked well last season. And particularly towards the end of the season, we were stretched. As I said, we used the lowest amount of players in the Championship last season of any team. We only used 24 players all season, which is mad in itself.
Crazy.
And we had 3 players that actually played every minute of every game, which no one else got near. So I think keep the core, keep that team. We've got an exciting, and I think new manager's going to come in with his ideas. I don't know how many times I can say it. Strikers. And if we don't, then I think we'll struggle.
Yeah, I think obviously Struby, he's had a bit of a, diverse managerial role with the likes of FC Cole.
Yeah.
Salzburg obviously going to America. And I think, those types of links, they're always quite handy.
You look at Wolfsburg, Cologne, New York, and in the MLS, and he's obviously become very well connected. And like I said, everywhere he's done a bloody good job. Someone please find out for me what went on, though, in his last place, because I've never heard anything of someone being sacked with 2 games to go in the second in the league.
But I think with my team, Wigan, obviously, we've got Ryan Lowen, as such, you might have seen at Preston.
Yeah.
I think, we're creating new chances. Obviously, we need a striker. Obviously, we got Christian Sadie from Portsmouth today, who, again, such you I was looking at it before. He didn't have the greatest of games, but Portsmouth fans are quite sad to see him go purely because of his work rate, and they also think that he'd suit the 10 role as he's quite a physical player.
Well, I think, like I said earlier as well, that a fresh challenge, a new club,
absolutely,
make a name for himself and perhaps play in that role that suits them is the tonic that they need, and can go on and do well. So you guys are looking like you're making some good signings. And you must be quite encouraged by that.
Yeah, absolutely. With the likes of Ryan Lowney, I saw a lot of promise in the way that we were playing. Because under Maloney, it was just rubbish football the whole time. Little chances every game. Obviously, Ryan Lowe's come in and we're creating a lot more. And we had Dale Taylor who's gone back to Forest, but I think the missing piece now is we've been linked to actually Paul Mullin. And I think, on a loan transfer as a bit of a low risk move, I'd like that experience because obviously, on a permanent transfer, it's sceptical with the League One side of it. But I think on a loan, he had a bit of an injury for Wrexham last season. But I also think with the likes of League Two, with how many goals he scored, he won't lose that. I think.
I think it'd be a great signing for whoever he goes to.
Yeah,
he's one of those players. He's bloody hard as nails.
Yeah,
as you've seen in the documentary when he's punctured his lung and he's still got up to walk off.
Yeah,
he's one of those players that he leaves everything out there, absolutely everything. And he knows that his playing career doesn't have many years left in him, so he's given his all.
Yeah. Excellent. So the final part of today's podcast, I actually wanted to do a little topic of the FFP rule in the Championship, these sorts of you've seen. So the first thing I wanted to talk about really was the likes of, Birmingham and Wrexham that are coming up. With the FFP rule, do you think it's, a really positive thing in the league, especially for these teams that want to come in and just chuck money?
Well, potentially yes, but potentially it could bite Bristol City in the ass. Well, so it puts us under pressure. And yes and no. I say what it does do is perhaps even things up. So I look at us. I mean, everyone went mental with us in January because we didn't bring in one new player. So we weren't actually setting the world alight by any stretch of the imagination. We were our usual 12th place or thereabouts. Didn't bring in one player. And then we kicked on. Look at Sheffield United, who we played in the semi-final playoffs, brought in 6 new players in January.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, that's what you're competing against. And so, I can see it's another way of trying to balance things up. But it's just a case of sort of the goalposts are so variable already between all 24 teams that you're not starting in a level place for everyone.
No.
So it's going to be how are they going to police it and how are they going to sort of monitor it? I just don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on to Jonny, the question I'm actually going to ask is, with what we saw with Birmingham and Wrexham, come into the league, free spending money. Do you think that we should have the FFP brought into League One?
It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
Clubs in possibly League One and League Two. It's like we went to the fans forum the other day.
Yeah.
And Bradford are breaking even. We're not in debt or anything like that. We just owe money for the stadium. I think it was 500k a year or whatever it is to the Flamingo Land.
Yeah.
But there's other clubs struggling.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's a tricky question, and I'm trying to think of an answer off the top of my head for you, and I don't think. Surely there's some kind of FFP in League One already somewhere.
Yeah.
Everyone's got it, surely. Apart from National League, I think it is.
Yeah.
But I think League One, League Two, and I think even Championship have all got it, and even Premier. Everyone's got it, I think.
Yeah, I think personally, with me, it's again going back to MK Dons is, because obviously, as we touched on, the attendances aren't great, and the sponsorships with all that. I think this year, I think they're gonna obviously keep on spending and getting paid on high wages. So for me, it's really kind of seeing what they can really spend. Can they go overboard? Can they get all this in? And how the EFL will respond to it.
I think it needs to be made transparent to us fans as well, so we barely understand it.
Yeah,
I haven't got a Scooby.
Exactly. Okay, so to finish off the podcast, quick question. Obviously, a week today from when this is filmed on the 19th, the 26th, 12 p.m. fixture release date. Obviously, I did a bit on last podcast with Jonny. Well, Jonny, we'll start with you. So today we'll go for first home game of the season, first away game of the season, Boxing Day, New Year's, and last game of the season.
First home game, I would like. I don't care really. Cardiff for something like that. First home game of the season.
Good.
Do you say Boxing Day?
First away game.
First away game. Get Exeter out away, or Cardiff, or Plymouth. Get furthest away out away.
Yeah.
Then, do you say Boxing Day next?
Boxing Day, yeah.
Boxing Day. I'm not bothered. Home or away, local, Stockport.
Yeah. What about New Year's Day?
Same. Actually, home game. Probably Huddersfield or something like that. Local derby.
Yeah.
Get some numbers for Sky.
And then, lastly, final game of the season.
Lincoln, like I said the other day, get it at home. Because last game of the season, we always remember the 56.
Yeah.
And I think it would be fitting to have Lincoln there last game of the season.
Yeah.
Because people don't know, 2 fans from Lincoln sadly passed away in the Bradford City fire. Back in the day. So just get something like that together last game of the season and do our best to remember the 56. Because it's never forgotten and always remembered.
Yeah.
Always remembered.
Yeah.
Moving on to myself, I think first home game, I like a challenge of one of the teams. Probably first game of the season, a challenge for one of the teams coming down. With either Luton or Cardiff or Plymouth. Testing ourselves a chance to be brought in, but then also first game of the season, I wouldn't mind, as you've said, Jonny, getting one of the long ones out of the way. Plymouth, Exeter, and Cardiff. Boxing Day, again, the local derbies. Stockport on Boxing Day would do us nicely. New Year's Day, I'd like an away time, maybe a London one, maybe like a Lincoln. And then final game of the season, I'll go for maybe like a Wimbledon or the likes of Port Vale team coming up. Finally, to finish off, Sutts, first home game of the season are you going for?
Could I change it? Because we're always away on the first day of the season. Because of the Bristol Blue Fiesta clashes. So we're away on the opening day. I want Norwich.
Away. What about the first home game after?
First home game. I don't know, something like Wrexham. Yeah, let's welcome to the championship. Let's get amongst them and show them what the championship's about. And then watch us lose 3-0 at home to them. No, hopefully get a result,
What about Boxing Day?
Like you guys have said, as long as it's not too far away. We were home last Boxing Day. We were away at Watford the previous one. Ideally home against anybody. If it's away, West Brom, Birmingham, just up the road.
What about New Year's Day? Obviously, celebrating the New Year.
New Year's Day, the gods were very kind to us. Well, not really. Gave us Plymouth for a 12:00 kickoff.
Yeah,
which was a bit of a beast. But New Year's Day doesn't really bother me. So I've got up ridiculous early. Well, with no sleep to do Stoke away on New Year's Day. As long as I mean, I think they normally won't give you a beasted one, so it won't be Middlesbrough. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, perhaps maybe Leicester. Leicester would be a good one.
Yeah. And then finally, final game of the season. Obviously, well, we don't know what situation we'll be in yet.
I'm just gonna say, because we've got an absolute massive bromance and love fest going on, it has to be our buddies at Preston again, doesn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely. So that comes to the end of the second episode of Talk 72. We'll be doing a few questions and polls to get you all interacted. Keep tuned on all socials on Talk 72. We've got plenty of YouTube shorts and TikTok and our Instagram and Facebook starting up. And finally, just wanted to mention the Patreon that is about to be starting, where you can see lots of exclusive videos, lots of different threads, as you call them, you know, on different posts of players, teams. So thanks everyone for watching. See you soon. See you next week for the next episode.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.